Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and I hope you guys are doing great. So in my today's video, I'm going to discuss with you about the con call summary of E2E Networks Limited after their Q1 FY27 results. So I'm just going to take the snippet and take the most important points which I feel is very important for us to know in order to see where the company is heading. And regarding the results and the numbers, I've already previously discussed in a separate video. You guys go ahead and check with that. So before I get into the con call summary, I'll just tell in brief the main numbers, right? So we all, I mean, the sales for Q1 FY27 grew by almost 334% from 36 crores to 157 crores for this year. And if you look at the net profit, that grew by almost 1,645% from, a loss of 2.84 crores to 443.9 crores. So we can clearly see, right, that this quarter has been really, really amazing for E2E Networks, especially with all the investments that they have been doing. It looks like it's bearing fruit, and because the revenue increased by almost three times, and the profit, it increased drastically from a loss of almost around 3 crores to a profit of almost around 43.9 crores. So let's look at the main points what the management said, and and where they are heading, and the guidance that they might have given. So if you look at the one of the most important points what the management said, right? See, in this quarter they went live with their Blackwell GPU, which they had recently got. So that was one of the main reasons for the increase in the overall revenue. And the management said, right, that the revenue did not increase just because of price or volume increase. It's not just because of price, but it was mainly because of the utilization, overall utilization of the GPUs have increased, and the volume has also increased. So that was one of the main reason. If you look in terms of margin, right? So in margin, the management said, right, so they have two types of revenue. One is contracted revenue, where they get in a contract with the clients, and they agree on a certain price depending upon the usage, and the client pays to E2E accordingly. And the second type is on-demand revenue, right? It's like I'm a customer, but the way I use E2 is like whenever I need it, right? So I do not have a contract where I agree to pay a certain amount, but whenever I use the E2E GPUs, computing power and everything for my purpose, as and when I use it, depending upon the hour, minute, or days, I pay according. So there are two type of revenue. And the other thing what the management said, that the margins that they achieved recently, right? They believe that they can sustain this in the near future. So that looks, if they're able to do that, that would be a really, really, sorry, great, really, really great sign for them. So that those were on the margins, right? And if in terms of guidance, the question was asked, right? So the management clearly says that they are firm on that they do not give any guidance on the MRR, which is monthly recurring revenue. But what the management is saying, right, look at the past and see what we have done, and accordingly you can predict the future. So they are very clear. There will be no guidance given. And another important thing what the management spoke on the con call, right, was regarding their sovereign AI platform, right? So what E2 is trying to do, right? Obviously, they are renting their whole GPU, or you can say AI factory, which they have made, where anyone can go ahead and rent their space and use the GPU power, which not everyone can afford and build on their own, right? So at the same time, what they're trying to do, they're trying to use the OpenAI platform, right? And let me just try to explain you in a very simple way how does it help, right? So currently there are two options, okay, for anyone to use AI. One is open source platform which are free, and then the other one is frontier models like ChatGPT, Anthropic, Google Gemini. These are the ones, right? So now normally anyone using that, right? So generally they do not have the control over the data and how the data are flowing in, whatever they want to do with it, right? So what E2 is trying to do, right? So they're trying to build their own sovereign platform, right? So as a customer, if I want to build my own AI model, or use that AI in quite a different way, right? And if I'm using E2's sovereign model, right? So what will happen, right? I will be able to deploy that whole model within my own boundaries. I will have the overall how to say control over how the model is deployed, what data is used, and all this, etc. So this gives the benefit to the customers who are using the E2E platform, right? If they use this their sovereign E2E sovereign model, right? AI sovereign platform model, right? So what happens, right? They can control everything, so they know where their data is going. Their data is not get lost, because currently, let's say I'm using ChatGPT, right? I type and everything runs on their platform, on their what do you call, on their servers and everything, and all the data is with them, right? And I do not have any control over how they are going to use the data. But E2E, the sovereign platform, completely changes it, and that is one of the most important thing that they're trying to, sorry, build and develop, and that can be a very big different shader for them. And the other thing, what the management said, right, their objective is very clear, right, to improve the overall operating leverage for the company, and they use this word, something called as do less but do better. So it's like we just don't want to spend too much time and effort doing a lot of things, and which doesn't result in much of a benefit. But they want to do less, which is in a much better way, which will help in how to say increasing the operating range. And the other thing what the management did, right, recently they did a price hike in July, which is actually quite a good sign, right? Because any company who can do a price hike and the customers, that means they have some how to say bargaining power, and the customers realize that how important they are for them. Right? In terms of growth, if we see on the call, the management did not give any growth guidance in that perspective, but what they said, right, the growth will come from capacity addition and the price hike that they will do accordingly when the prices rise. And in terms of capacity addition, they said that their Blackwell GPUs, which is B200, right, their deliveries will happen in the couple of next couple of months, and they will add on to it, right? So as and when that happens, they will keep the shareholders posted, and they will release it. And what the other thing that they're saying, right, that in the future how their GPU roadmap is going to go, right? They will continue to add this Blackwell GPUs, but at the same time they're going to expand into Vera Rubin. Vera Rubin is the latest GPU which has been developed by Nvidia. So that's how they are. So that's where the growth is coming from. So see, it's a very simple thing. We all know the business model of E2E, right? They rent the GPU capacity to the customers who need it to, to use their own AI model or use the capacity or to run their, whole AI platform, right? So the more GPUs that they have, the more GPU, the more capacity they can run, and they can earn more money. It's like this, right? If I'm a person who's like a real estate developer and I want to rent as many, I want to earn more and more revenue through rental income, I need to, build more and more flats or build more and more houses. The more I can, how to say, build it, and the more I can rent it, automatically my revenue. The same thing goes for E2E, right? So this is where they, how to say, the growth will come from. And there was, I will close with this one last thing, right? There was a question asked about AI bubble, right? Because they said there are sometimes this news comes, some other news comes saying that the AI bubble will burst and everything, right? The management was, very confident in the way said, right? They said we are not worried about all these things. Certain news come because there are a lot of news comes out in the actual AI, business and the market, but not everything is picked up by the news channel. Some things which are picked up, they blow it out of proportion. And what the management said, right? What he's saying that they are in the beginning of the AI super cycle, and for them it's like a day zero. They're like there is still very long way to go. So they do. So please do not. So they clearly said they do not believe in this AI bubble, and things are going to go strong for them. So overall, if I look from the the con call that I heard and the points that I made, right, it looks very clear that the E2E management is very confident of how things are progressing, especially with the new capacity addition happening, and especially on their their own sovereign platform which they are trying to build, and they're able to build it, and and the customers are using it and they're happy with it. It will literally help them to acquire even more customers, right? See, because one thing is this. Let's say, because I'm giving an example of as a builder renting the house, right? See, let's say if I just build a house and rent it, I can charge only a nominal one. But let's say if I build a house and I put, all the furnitures, and I provide club facilities, and I provide all the other facilities, right? Then by default, I can charge more rent, right? Same way, this platform also will help them, have a different pricing structure where they can, if enterprise clients or other clients who wants to use these services, they can charge them even at a higher rate. So that is how this will help them. So overall, the con call was really good, and I personally feel that something really big is going to happen in the coming years for E2E. But obviously, that is something that we can understand from right now. But we have to continue tracking the company and see how things are progressing, right? Because at the end of the day, no one knows the future, because future is uncertain. And if you guys like this video and analysis, please do hit like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you and God bless.